she said, most times when we talk about mentoring, we only pick very few people. But look at the political history of Nigeria. What we've had in terms of books, in terms of literatures, are stories about the men. Compare how many books we have on Azikiwe and Awolowo to the books we have on Gambo Sawaba and Margaret Echo. So more that we've had is more of their history, more of the men's history than the women's history. So the women or the political movement in Nigeria, to have more women in politics, need to explore the use of literature because it has a lot of reach. A lot of people in politics today will quote Awolowo and quote all the founding fathers. But how many women themselves are actually quoting other women?
Are there any founding mothers?
Thank you. And they are founding mothers. And people have forgotten that if they are founding fathers, there must be founding mothers for the children to come up. But nobody actually thinking about that. So we really need to explore all those areas in terms of politics and not just only being in government. For example, 2 weeks ago in Germany, there was a law that says there must be 35 women representation in position of power. Look at it in Nigeria. She mentioned the issue of executive positions. Fine, in the boardroom, we are all equal. But how many women are there in the boardroom itself to affect that decision? In the Senate, in the House, how many women are there? In the executive council, how many women are there? And not just women being there. What are the powers that they have behind them in order to affect those policies? Because if it's just appointees, or if it is the men that just appointed them to be voted for to go there, definitely the immediate constituency will still be those men. It will not be the women. So we really need to look at those powers behind even the women we have present in politics that affect the way they affect policies and the way they speak in those spaces.
Before we start to round up, let me just throw that question to you. Do you think that the women we have at the higher levels now, do you think they have affected things in such a way that the men will happily have them come in greater numbers because they make the difference?
Personally, I don't think so. Some have, and it depends on their portfolio as well. I believe if, for example, if there's a female representative on the health, for example, they'll push health agendas. They will. They'll push for women, they'll push for children, because that's an area of interest. That's where they can be advocates in that area. Education, for example. If you put a woman as head of education, they're looking at the children, the children's children. They're looking at stuff like that. However, like I said, those are kind of like soft kind of issues, but when you're there at the decision-making stage, for example, finance, you are the one in charge of budgeting, you will put money where really you should put money in terms of health and education and things like that that are of concern to women and men, of course, and but children. Mainly women and children.
Okay. Now, we got to wind up now, so I've got to take your last word. And please, I want that to be by way of advice to any young woman who may be watching this program and has had some fears about going into politics. I want you to give advice to any woman who's out there and encourage them to come out.
Yes,
if they don't come out, they will never get the chance.
Absolutely. You've made the point. For women who are watching this program, particularly young women, I think that this is the point. This is the stage. I mean, where we are now, there's a national movement that is talking so much about the desired change. And as young women who have interest in politics, this is the right time for you to come out, to express yourself. Do not be intimidated. Don't be afraid to express your view. Express your view on virtually every issue that you think is critical to your well-being as women.
Okay.
We must be part of this change process, and indeed, we must continue to advocate that women must get to where they need to be.
Mrs. Oluyemi?
To women out there, young women out there, we have to get our priorities straight first. Education is very, very important. Stay in school, get educated, look for a mentor. I'm hoping this year or this next cycle, there'll be lots of women in politics who'll be able to advise you. So pick somebody that you feel, I'm going to learn from this person. I like the way this person comports herself. I want to be like her in politics. So stay in school, pick let your voice be heard, pick a mentor, and then just follow that path. Like, don't feel intimidated, like my colleague already said. Do pray about it and do what you want to do. Just make sure you have the right avenues. And for the people who are going to be there, please be mentors. Don't go there and just take a seat and be a flower on the wall. Go there for what you're being sent there for.
Okay.
Thank you.
Basically, I would just say that as far as you are given birth to as a human, you have a right. And if you don't exercise your political rights, you are changing yourself even as a woman. So it's very, very important that you have the holistic rights, of which is God-given. It's not the government that is giving it to you, but it's God-given. So it's very important as a woman to exercise your right to the full for you to be a true human.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. We have been chatting with Michael Akonji, Director of Programs, Initiative for Equal Rights, Comfort Ogunye, Executive Director, Female Leadership Forum, and Kemi Oguyemi, Women's Advocate. Thank you all very much for coming to share your insights with us this morning.
Thank you.
And to you women out there, do not
relent,
and do not draw any boundaries in front. No limitations. Go out there. Sandra will return in just a moment.